We're recording.
He's done it again.
I did it again. We're welcome to the Default Tangent, episode 5. Are we on 5 now?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
We're on 5. Episode 5 with me, Leon C, and my friend Chris P. I'm 1 for 1 on those at the moment. Hopefully that's
You're not 1 for 1. You're like 1 for 4.
1 for 4. I don't know. No. I think I'm actually.
If this is our 5th and this is your first successful one, that's 1 for 4.
I've only done it 3 times total.
Okay.
I think I've watched them all back to back. And on that note, housekeeping. We're gonna stay on point this week as well. We want to really I think we've got some loyal followers now. I think there are like 10 to 12 people that might actually potentially like the podcast.
I think my mum's one of them, but I don't think she likes the podcast.
Thank you, Chris.
She just likes me.
Well, do you know what though? That's another thing.
I hope she likes me.
This is another thing I was going to say. I don't care if people like it or hate it. I just want them to like it or hate it.
You're the reason John Cena stayed relevant for the better part of 2 decades.
I don't want. Well, if people care, that's all that matters, really. It's like if people genuinely dislike this podcast and they're listening to us and they disagree with all our views and they take a moment.
It's the same as somebody liking us.
I really appreciate that. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for hating us.
Yeah, thanks for hating us. That's a new catchphrase. Let's make a t-shirt of that. Thanks for hating. I'm sure there is actually one like that somewhere.
I'm pretty sure Miz had one like, I need new haters, your ones are starting to like me, or something like that. I owned it.
Good t-shirt. I would have loved to have come up with that t-shirt first. I didn't. But I would have loved it if I had.
I've just noticed your t-shirt. Fucking big old nerd. To be fair, I'm rocking a bit of like nerdness as well. These are actually pajamas for Christmas. So
two phenomenal, iconic characters in Broly, Goku.
I was going to say, he's so iconic, I couldn't name that one.
Well, this one is check out Netflix. Go on Netflix and watch the movie. It's good. Even if you don't like Dragon Ball, I guarantee you'll like it a lot. I guarantee. It's fucking good.
We are less than 2.5 minutes in, and we've already managed to tangent from housekeeping.
It's our default setting, default tangent. So housekeeping. A couple of things to go back on. I did remember some of these last week off the top, but I've got the notes that I made now, so I'm just gonna go through them all anyway. UFC update. UFC match update. The score remains the same. We have not played it in the time since the last podcast. Streak building, I feel, but still like UFC a lot. Very good game, but still, I don't think. I think I can now look back in hindsight and say not as good as Undisputed on 360. But there's features in it which make it a competitive. I also alluded to a game. I think that's the right word for that. I also mentioned Dynasty Warriors. That came up, and I couldn't remember what type of game it was called. And I was like, Muesli? Is it Muesli or something?
Muesli? Is that a cereal?
Yeah, I didn't say Muesli. I must have said Mushi, I think it said. But it's a Muso.
Okay.
They're Muso games. That's what I was trying to remember. Muso. We still haven't done our top 3 lightsaber fights. Maybe they're going to come up today because we're going to talk a lot of Star Wars today. A lot. So they could come up today. Also, the Jedi Master. Now, this was an interesting one. Do you remember we talked about who Palpatine killed when Mace came to arrest him?
Oh, yeah. Kit Fisto. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, but I think at the time we were pretty much sure on 3 of the 4. So Mace Windu, Kit Fisto, and I think he said Plo Koon.
No, it wasn't Plo Koon. He wasn't there.
It wasn't Plo Koon. No, he wasn't there. But I think maybe I did say that. But he got killed in ship, didn't he?
He got killed in I believe, if I remember correctly, he got killed in a starfighter at 66.
Yeah. Poor old Plo Koon. I'm always intrigued by that race with their inbuilt face mask. Is that like something they have to have on for birth?
It's because I think the atmosphere they live on is not compatible with the atmosphere of Coruscant and many of the planets they go to. It's basically a breathing mask.
It looks like in space.
Yeah, it's a very well designed breathing mask.
Cool, man. Even though a lot of those aliens put me off my food, they're cool. They are cool, but they're gross. So so what we had here was, I've not written the names down very clearly. but it was Kit Fisto, Mace Windu. I think it's I'm not going to be able to pronounce this right, okay? But it's like Sae-See or Tin, Saeesee, Sae-See, Sae-See, and then Tin. Sae-See.
Nope, never heard of that character.
I think that is the guy with the horns. He looks a bit like Worf from Star Wars, I think. And then Agen Kolar or Agen Kolar.
Agent Kloss? Agent Kloss is a planet from the...
No, it's definitely Agenkolar. Agen Kolar. Or Agen.
I mean, that rings a bell, but not a big one.
Well, that is apparently who it is.
There we go.
So there we go. So there we've got them all right. Don't ever fault us for our Star Wars knowledge, because we go into the we go into nitty gritty.
We get it wrong, but we go into it.
We get it wrong, but we go into it. We try our best. We already covered Preston, Garvey, Minutemen, Fallout 4. I haven't looked into the history of the Minutemen. I just realised, because that was something I
oh, come on. All right, let's go. Let's rock through this. We got a lot to get through.
Okay. Then we had Darth Vader's brother, Salvador Press, and that was it.
Salvador Press.
Yeah,
Darth Vader's brother.
Darth Maul's brother. Sorry. I call Darth Maul Darth Vader a lot, and Darth Maul is like.
I mean, they're very similar. They both wear black and have a red lightsaber, but
yeah, but
that's as far as it goes.
Yeah, they're not similar though. We know the score.
That's my point. That was sarcasm, Leon.
I know. So Christmas time. Anything to discuss over the Christmas period that you think highlighting worthwhile knowing?
My hometown got flooded quite a lot. That's about it, really. Yeah, it was
What about any interesting Christmas presents?
I got some nice pajamas. I got a few cool things. Quite a few nerdy things. My friend made me a Loot Crate box, which was pretty impressive.
A Loot Crate box. But somehow your spell check changed to creamy. Was it a creamy Loot?
I know, yeah, creepy Loot Crate.
No, creamy Loot Crate. It was.
I'm not sure. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Like, what the hell?
A friend of mine's girlfriend got COVID confirmation on Christmas Eve.
Oh, that's not good.
He then got it 7 o'clock Christmas morning, which is a bit of a downer. Yeah, not much.
That's bad. August got a BB-8 for Christmas. Definitely.
Which is another way of saying Leon bought a BB-8 and gave it to his son.
Yeah. A bit of Christmas recon, as Chris would call it. Right, go through that there.
Chris's Christmas recon.
Christmas recon.
If we're still going next year, that's got to be some consumer advice segment we do. Chris's Christmas recon.
Oh, missed the trick.
The hottest new toys this year.
Yeah, we missed the trick massively there, because I think that would have been good. And the whole guise of it being like that you're doing.
Basically, the origination was I'd go Christmas shopping and end up buying things for myself, so it became Christmas recon for the next trip to town. Is where it came from.
So Christmas recon, that's ours as well. Like if we start making t-shirts, we'll make some of that.
Christmas. If we get big next year, Christmas jumpers can all be Chris's Christmas recon. Yeah, I like it.
I like it. So that's it really on Christmas, I think. Move on to the next thing.
We're even, bitch!
Yeah, I know.
We're edit even!
That so infuriates me, because I could have just let it go, bang, sent it, but now I've got to take it, download it, edit it, chop it, re-upload it.
For some backstory, I made a bit of an error 2 weeks ago or last week, and Leon, I tried to edit it, I failed, so Leon had to edit it, and he gave me shit. He gave me a lot of shit for a simple 10-second cut. So now, fucking karma's back. All right, let's move on, because we wasted 95, 96, 97 seconds so far.
All right, okay, cool. All right, so here we go then. Monster Hunter. So I want to talk about Monster Hunter because a game that you've tried very briefly. You didn't like it, did you? Let's start with your thoughts. And then I'm not going to try and rebuttal them, because they are your thoughts, they are your opinions, and then I can.
I assume it was the latest one. I'm pretty sure it was the ones on Game Pass.
Yeah.
And you know, you're on a ship, and you're going off with all these people to a new world, and then you get put on this wooden village high up, and you're walking slowly, and you got to go to this place and talk to this person and this place, and it just didn't captivate me. It never drew me back into wanting to play it. I think it's that Capcom thing of having so many options. It just puts me off.
Yeah, I mean, like, I am very au fait with Capcom games. Like,
Au fait?
Au fait. So, like, you've never heard the phrase au fait?
I've heard of the Fae, but that's a Dungeons and Dragons thing, so I don't think they're the same.
I'm very familiar with the Capcom
menus.
Well, not so much that. I think like there's a lot of Dragon's Dogma in Monster Hunter. I mean, don't get me wrong. The first Monster Hunter I properly played was Monster Hunter World, which is definitely the one that you played. The first one that came out on Xbox, and there's Monster Hunter Generations, and there's other Monster Hunter games that came out on the Nintendo consoles, which, to be fair, I'm not 100% familiar with. I've never really played them that much. Always wanted to play them. Never had the console at the right time. I've had like all the Nintendo consoles, but I always ended up getting them kind of almost like retrospectively for certain things. And at that time, there was something newer out which took my attention. But ultimately, it took me a long time to Monster Hunter properly. Played Monster Hunter Worlds at day one. There were some issues on Xbox, or at least I felt there were issues. And I think these might be similar issues that you were having, because there was not a barrier to entry, but it didn't quite click. I was so excited to play it. I got in there, I tried to play with a mate. We couldn't figure out how that exactly worked. It just felt a little bit like weird, and there were complaints about connectivity.
It feels a bit like one of those games where if you know, you know, but if you don't know, it's hard to learn.
Definitely.
That's what it seems like.
There's definitely, I think there might be a bit of a barrier to entry on Monster Hunter. But so what happened is I got it day one. I played a little bit of it, and I kind of like put it on the back burner. So for whatever reason, I came back to it several months later. Like I felt like I was getting on the ground floor of Monster Hunter World, and then I was out, and then when I came back, all this world and unrolled.
Same with Battlefront 2 by the sounds of it.
Well, kind of similar. Like they fixed issues that have happened. I mean, even when I log in now, there's usually quite a few patch updates. They're still up the game, and it is very solid now. It's fucking solid, and it was then, even to be fair, compared to like other games that we've mentioned in previous weeks. But like, I got back in, and I'm seeing people with all this crazy shit, and I'm someone who loves Phantasy Star Online and Phantasy Star Universe, and it feels like that. Like you go in and you see people. So I was playing on it last night, and there's somebody just with this fucking super extravagant scarf, but it's like a black scarf, but it's like in the wind, it's super long, and then they're just stood there, and then they've used what's called a farcaster, which I forgot even existed, and they shoot off. They chuck this thing up, this dragon comes along, and they fly off, and I'm just like, that was like a fucking ninja of Monster Hunter. Like, how do I get to that level? And that's what you feel. You see these other people, and you think, how do I get to this level that they are? And there's I mean, I don't know if there's a level cap, but I can only presume that 999 is the level cap. There's a hunter rank and a master rank. And the way that the leveling works in this game is you don't so much level up your characters, you level up your access to armor. And like, I don't know the limitations of it, but it enables you to ultimately switch between weapons without having to train those weapons up. If I'm at a certain hunter rank, I now have the ability to create armor and weapons that can fit that level monster that I'd be going out and hunting. Now, one thing about this game is that you, like Dragon's Dogma, and this is like, I think I'm pretty confident. I feel like there's some things I would say about this game that like people that have got more experience in this game would like say I've got wrong or turn their nose at. But I definitely feel there are obvious traits in this game which I love. So for instance, right, in this game you are fighting massive monsters. Now when you start off, you will have battles against some of these monsters that take half an hour, 45 minutes. They are hunts. You've got to find. You've got to track them down. Like they leave, and then they're not like predetermined tracks that they leave around. You can see these monsters leaving their tracks when they run off. You can see these tracks that they leave. So you can hunt these monsters, right? Now there are some monsters that will almost hunt you. You are running away from them a lot of time. You're on the back foot trying to get away. When you've done a certain amount of damage, depending on the monster's personality or what that monster is like, they will run away. And some of them will run away and try and get health. Some of them will run away. So certain monsters will run away, eat other monsters to get some health back, which is insane. They have turf wars. So each area has different monsters that inhabit that area, and certain types of monsters will fight each other, and that can work to benefit or against you. There are all kinds of things like this.
It's like its own little ecosystem.
Oh, the game is a pure ecosystem. Even the menu is like just a camera placed at a certain point of the map, and you can see the ecosystem doing its thing. As you start to level up, like there are monsters. So I was looking for a Rathian yesterday to get something to upgrade a sword, which is like a type of dragon, effectively. Now, like when I first came up against this dragon, it's got poison claws, it's a beast, it flies. You know, I was having like 20, 30-minute battles with this thing, chasing it around the map, like using all kinds of items, desperately trying to survive as well as just get something from it. I went in and did it last night in 7 minutes with my character. I've got a massive poison sword. I beat the shit out of it. I actually felt sorry for it. It's not on its back foot. It's dribbling and it's limping off. You never feel like a badass like you do when you beat the shit out of a fucking 20-foot dragon and you're stood there and it's just limping away, dribbling, leaving all manner of destruction. But it is incredible. There's like another type of monster that will break trees and like dig up rocks and use that as weapons. Every monster it's kind of like a Pokemon, but you do hunt the Pokemon, and the Pokemon are huge and they're dangerous, and then you use the Pokemon to create new weapons and armor. But this is just what I've talked about is pretty much just the premise of Monster Hunter. The layers go deep with regards to building different types of character. I mean, I've got a certain perk in certain parts of my armor that is the perk is called earplugs, and it is designed to not make you like freeze when some of these monsters roar. So some of these monsters have a super fucking roar, like a gigantic roar, and you're like, oh, your character is like, oh my god. But like, what's really cool is mine's not maxed out. Mine's like 2 out of 3 or 2 out of 5. I don't know how high it goes. So, but it's pretty good. So like, I'm with other hunters, and this monster lets off this massive roar, and the other hunters are like, oh, like covering their ears. My character's like, huh. Oh, and then it just carries on. But I think that when I get it even higher, my character won't even do that. My character won't flinch. It just keeps going. So there's lots of tiny little details. If you think about some of the movement in Red Dead, which I love, you're going down a hill in Red Dead, and your character will slide. And all kinds of things. It's very much like that in Monster Hunter. And you can, from this slide, you can do all sorts of things. There's a grappling hook. They've just released a new grappling hook mechanic as well. On top of that, there's a grappling hook which you can use to like slide down a thing, hook up on a beetle. I mean, I was fighting a monster last night. You get these like crazy, massive beetles that cling onto the walls, and you can hook onto them. Part of the ecosystem. So I'm running away from a monster, and it's kicking my ass. And I just noticed that there's one up above me, and I've just flung my thing up, and I'm just hanging just to get my breath back. And this monster's jumping up to try and get me. The game is one of the most kind of, I don't want to say original because they've been around for years, but as far as like you feel that you're hunting a monster, and it's very unique. It's so much fun. There's a lot of clones of this game. There's another one called God Eater on PlayStation, which is okay, but it doesn't hold a candle to this. The feeling that you're in a world, right, like you mentioned before, a world that doesn't need you, a world that you are a guest in, a world that you are just trying to make the most of, really is what it's all about. And I'll end on this basically, just sharing my screen with some of the Monster Hunter. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we're good.
Cool. Okay, so Monster Hunter World, just to kind of give you an idea of like the gravitas. These monsters are massive. I mean, every monster ranges in size as well. So you can find the same breed of monster, and you might find a very small one, which you'll get an award for finding. I found ones that are like almost the size of like lions. And it's like, oh my god, look how cute that is, you know. And you get a reward.
Oh, it's like a baby.
Yeah, and then like you'll kill that one, then his brother comes out of the woodwork and skyscraper.
Kill that one, and the dad comes out, and then you're fucked.
It's really cool. So like, there's never just one of these monsters, and there's a map, and each section of this map is just. It's not linear in any way, shape, or form. It's a very non-linear game.
See, looking at that photo there, if it wasn't for the fact you've got your left hand on the weapon, it kind of looks like you're riding a kind of motorbike, as if you're straddling it, and the back end is firing fire out.
Like, you know what? I wouldn't even surprise me if some of the weapons you can do the things you expect. Like, like I said, I've got a weapon. I can't remember what it's called now, but my most powerful weapon is a giant sword. If you want to call it a sword, it's effectively like one of the doors from Star Wars. It is with a stick on the end. It's jet powered, and it is absolutely out of this world. I wish I could remember the name of it off the top of my head and I find a picture of it. But it is insane. Some of the weapons you've got all manner of weapons: bows, axes, swords, sword and shield. You name it, lances, gun lances, like lances with a fucking like a revolver type thing. Think kind of Final Fantasy VIII, but like huge. Here's the mechanic I spoke about with the grappling hook. This grappling hook is probably one of the most fun things because I like grappling hooks, right? And like this grappling hook mechanic is incredible. You can certain monsters you can slice off their tail, but you can see, I don't know if you can really see that actually, but certain parts of monsters' armor can be like worn away. A good way is like clinging onto it. Like these things fly up in the air. You can be on their back hitting them while you're like 30, 40, 50 feet up in the air. It is so mad. So this is really good. But it's an okay picture showing the grappling hook.
That animal looks like it's like staring deadpan at the camera.
Yeah. Like, you taking a picture of me in my weakest moments?
Yeah. Oh, eat your face off.
The beautiful thing about that's called a jagras, a giant. I think it's a great jagras, and one of the perks that monster has is you get all these little monsters on the map as well, and that is one of the monsters I mentioned earlier that will run away and to kind of heal up.
Because they're scared of the big monster.
It will eat other monsters, but when it eats them, it changes shape and its whole tactics change. It starts trying to roll over you, and it's very slow, and it leaves different tracks.
So it's like a power up.
Yeah, it's like a power up, but it's got its downside. And the thing is, if you see a certain type of track, and it's like the belly of this creature that's created that track, then you know that creature is currently full up. And then here's another picture, which I found online. Just usually when you get your kill, the moment you get your kill, it takes a quick screenshot for you. And this looks like the moment that these two have just teamed up. One guy seems to be like hitting it hardcore in the face. I think that's the face of that particular creature with some kind of insane. I can't even tell you what weapon that is exactly. It might be a bow.
It looks like a chainsaw in mid-spin.
Yeah, mid-spin, and then you've got the guy at the top, which looks like it might be some kind of gun sword or something. Again, see, I'm not massively.
That reminds me of when Mr. Incredible. It's the big fight. This is a bit of a tangent. Hello. Like at the end of the Incredibles, where he's holding onto that like rocket-powered claw, and they turn it on, and it just fires out at the big enemy. Oh, it reminds me of that.
It is a bit like that. That happens in this game. Like, there's times when I've done something, and it's just like the moment I've done it, I was like, oh fuck, like so I've shot the grappling hook just as this dude launched himself up in the air and is about to like.
I've made a mistake here.
Spray. Yeah, he's like, I don't know if it was like just boiling hot water or if it was some kind of acid. No, it was like sleeping gas of some type, like this bat type dragon I was fighting last night. And it had a move where it would suck it all up before it blew it all out. And I launched onto him the moment he started to suck up all his gas. So I launched onto him, I'm on his head, and boom, I just get blown off into the distance in the midst of all this sleeping gas on my ass. Hilarious.
There's a mode on Rocket League where like you get weird power-ups. There's a power-up which, for some reason, I've called a boomerang for years, even though it acts nothing like a boomerang. But you like attach to the it's a grappling hook. You grappling hook the ball and then come at the ball.
Yeah.
But sometimes the ball will get hit in a certain position where the ball is traveling like half a mile an hour slower than you're catching up to it. So you're just following this ball in midair around the map, just getting closer and closer, but really slowly, helplessly, like doing nothing as you just fly around the map. It's great.
Yeah, I like that kind of shit. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing.
I honestly, like, from what I remember the game, it sucks, but it sounds better than the experience I had.
Yeah,
I'll give it that.
It definitely is, and I can assure you. Oh, he's back, and I can.
was just thinking that.
Seriously, August, give us some space when we do this. Otherwise, I'm not gonna have time to play with you on Lego Warzone. We're too busy editing this video, trying to edit you out of it.
35 minutes, you little lovely boy. Can't hear me.
Seriously, August, come on, give us some space. So that's Monster Hunter, and that's really. There's so much more I want to say about it, but I'm conscious of time. there's just so much, and I've probably got more wrong than I have right, to be fair, as far as like the actual names of things. But it is something that I have immense fun on. All right, so I'm definitely going to edit that out, because that was I don't know, that was the bet.
We could just do it now. I mean, I'd rather do it now, to be honest, and then have the rest.
Okay, so we'll get the bets out. Oh no, I like to do the bets at the end, because we'll be all right. So
it's like a washing machine.
So without further ado, let's talk about what we're here to talk about mainly, and that is the Mandolorian. And that is, I think, the best thing to start with, more than anything else, is, I mean, I've watched it all. I've watched everything now.
That's the big news. You finally fucking caught up with it.
I caught up with it. Because I think
you literally watched series 1, episode 1 to 4 in about 2 days. It then took you another week and a half to watch anything. And then in 3 days, you were at the final fucking episode.
I think it was less than 3 days. I think I got it.
I think you did the entire second series in about a day.
I did the entire second series in a day. I did like a series and a half in one day. And I would have done it all, apart from the last episode, but I wanted to save the last episode because I was falling asleep.
Flagging.
Yeah, I'd been watching so much, I wanted to give the last episode my all. Which kind of backfired because I did get a spoiler.
I mean, to be fair, it'd been out like 3 days by now, so I'm surprised you lasted as long as you had without a spoiler.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I've learned my lesson now. Next time I'm on the last episode of something and I'm that close, I feel something brewing, I just go on.
Your real lesson should be listen to your friends sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Well, ultimately, though, I didn't force it. I don't like, pun intended. I didn't force it. And I watched it as I felt like watching it, and I had the best experience for it. But yeah, fucking show is incredible. The show is incredible. I think it was the end of the first season more than anything else that was like, not the turning point, because I could tell it was good up until that point, but that was the moment I was fully in, strapped on.
Yeah, I remember. I can't remember how I posted it, not how I put it to you, but I was always of the same, like, it took a while to get going, but then when it got going, it wasn't like, this bit's rubbish and this bit's good. It just, this bit made the overall part better. I mean, what's that phrase we can never get right? The
phrase you can never get right is the sum of
total
its
is
parts.
greater than the addition of each individual part, or something like that.
Something to that effect, but it's definitely true. But I mean, for me, like, I am like very nitpicky, as you know, on acting and things, right? One of the best things about this series is it's given us something to really sink our teeth into. I feel like with the new Disney trilogy of movies, they were very formulated. It was very much a reaction to focus groups and just trying to make money. I could see the money in their eyes through the reflection of the bloody camera. You know, it was just not. I don't know the right word, but it was fucking shit.
It wasn't made by people that loved Star Wars. It was made by people that loved money.
Yeah, and it didn't feel like it was really connected to the Star Wars universe. It felt like Star Wars the Ride, the movie, because you've got Finn, Rey, and Kylo Ren all fucking fanboying out the entire movie. Like, Kylo's fanboying out for Darth Vader, big time. Just walking around in Darth Vader cosplay and just loving Darth Vader. Lego emphasize all of this beautifully. A great fucking scene where one of the minions, whatever, from an officer knocks on Kylo Ren's door, like summons Kylo Ren. It's from Lego Force Awakens game, and as Kylo Ren opens the door, you can see a poster of Darth Vader and like a Darth Vader clock or something in pajamas, like just behind the door, and the officer's almost looking in, and Kylo's kind of like shutting the door a bit. And it's very funny, but it's so true. You've got Rey and Finn like, oh, well, we use the Force. Oh, have you heard of Luke Skywalker? Oh, it's the Millennium Falcon. And it's
just on the side note of Lego. Lego is a great co-op game, but they're fucking stupid because you can't do it online with 2 different people. You've got to be on the same console. Stupid.
We did try Marvel Avengers Lego, which is massively disappointing because we couldn't do it online. We then Googled it, and it appears that the majority, if not all, of co-op Lego games cannot be done online. I know you can do Lego Worlds online. I know you can do that online co-op.
I have no interest in playing that game.
But I'm fingers crossed. I'm really
the Skywalker saga.
Skywalker Saga has that because
Yeah.
that game's going to be so good, and I don't guarantee, but I'm
But
like pretty sure you're going
back
to
to
get a lot
the-
of Mandalorian DLC.
Back to the fanboying the fanboy Force Awakens.
Fanboy Force Awakens.
Alliteration.
So is Pure Star Wars the Ride the movie? They
I mean, they almost did beat for beat A New Hope. You know, some nobody on a desert planet has an ability. They then blow up a world-killing, planet-sized thing. Like somebody, the nobody learns about the Force. It's like very
the older
beat for
character
beat.
dies.
It's like you know, stick to what you know, but don't fucking copy it.
It's a complete pointless story. I'm like someone who likes Naruto, and the Naruto series has a sequel series called Boruto, which is about Naruto's son, and it's just the Naruto story all over again, but all the characters have shifted up a level. There's other replacement characters. And I'm not saying it's bad or good because I haven't watched enough Boruto to really make a judgment on that. But that's what I perceive to be, and that's where my interest stops on that. And that's what I feel like the new trilogy of Star Wars is. So they missed the point as far as I'm concerned. No, they just did. Like they're not even as far as I'm concerned. They just fucking missed the point massively on so many things. Whereas the Mandalorian seems to totally hit the point, and I think that it actually puts to shame Force Awakens.
Like spoiler alert, FYI, if you already know.
We're deep in spoiler territory now. Like,
I mean, actually, at this point, I don't think we've actually spoiled anything at all. But I mean, all we've done is rib on the new trilogy.
Yeah, this image could be considered a bit of a spoiler, though. But I mean, it's not officially. We are just actually. There's no even.
It's fan art. It's fan art. It's fan art, Leon. What are you talking about?
We're deep in spoiler territory. So I think the series to go through from beginning to end is too long. So we won't do that.
Oh no, we're going to pick up the cliff notes. Like when it first, I only watched the first series like a week before the second series began, and I think that's because that was when I started leeching Disney Plus off my friend, because I've done that for shout out to you, mate. You know who you are. Disney Plus, I'm leeching off you. Netflix, I'm leeching off you. I'm leeching off another friend for Game Pass and Xbox Live. But yeah, so I came to it late, binged it in about a week, and I thought it's a new IP. It's based in the Star Wars universe, and the only connection to any real, tangible Star Wars stuff from the main series is just Tatooine, maybe a few other planets, and Baby Yoda. And it just shows that you don't have to stick to the tried and tested formulas and Force wielders and the fucking Skywalkers to have a successful series.
Yeah, I think really what you want to hang on to, and my initial apprehension on watching the series was that I am a massive fanboy for lightsabers and Jedi and Sith, and I've always felt that the Force is at the heart of every Star Wars story. Whether that story is necessarily about Jedi, Sith, or even Force users, I always feel like the Force is a central element and key to Star Wars, and to do nothing with that, I feel, is not making the most of
it's not a big part of the Mandalorian, but it is there, especially where Grogu is concerned.
It's a huge part. It's a huge part of this story, as much as any other Star Wars. But the Force is present here as much as it is in any other Star Wars good story. So, I mean, they've nailed the aspects of, and then from a basic storytelling standpoint, you have got Grogu, Baby Yoda, whatever you want to call him, the center. He is the equivalent to I was going to say the dog in John Wick, but he's much more. At first, he is that, and then it becomes more. But they use him constantly as something to create drama. The story. I guess you could say he is at the very center of this story.
Well, without him, there is no story. It's just a normal bounty hunter story.
100%.
I mean, it's one of those. Star Wars is very well known from the corporate side for just making things to make money, Ewoks, Jar Jar Binks. There's always been something they designed to make money. And I get, like, you look at Baby Yoda and you think that was made to make money. But then it's a great part of the story as well. So you kind of, that bit becomes irrelevant because it works and it's appreciated in the universe for what it is.
For me, it is absolutely on the nose, bad ass, like incredible marketing, branding, storytelling. Like, you cannot have the story without this character, and I guarantee this character is responsible for the majority of money made. Like.
Oh God, yeah. That's why, spoiler alert, he's coming back. There's no way in heck they're not bringing Baby Yoda back.
Well, I mean, well, to cut to the very end of the Mandalorian, like post credits, where we see Boba Fett now coming in and taking over, just taking Jabba's palace away from Jabba's.
Bib Fortuna.
Yeah, Bib Fortuna. Thank you. I could not remember the name. Who was Jabba's like second in command, or Jabba's little bitch, whatever you want to call him.
Probably the second one.
Yeah. He it's now Boba's palace, you know, like, and I think that they are going to do kind of what we spoke about. I don't know what season's coming directly next, whether it's going to be the Boba Fett series or it's going to be Ahsoka, but I do honestly think they're going to end like Marvel Universe, MCU Universe. I think they're going to do that where you've got Mandalorian
intertwining stories.
Yeah, intertwining, and I think
definitely. Yeah,
I think that is.
They've got so many coming out that I know there's an Ahsoka one. Well, I think we spoke about this last week. The Ahsoka one is going to be alongside the Mandalorian, or at least not maybe alongside, but it's going to be set in the same time period. So there's probably going to be crossover from that.
Yeah, okay. So yeah.
And then I don't know if I discussed this with you or we discussed on the last show, but there was a theory that the Book of Boba Fett was going to take over the Mandalorian, and then the Mandalorian was going to become a Boba Fett show. But that's not the case. They are confirmed to be two separate things. The Mandalorian will have a third series, and there will be a separate show called The Book of Boba Fett.
So it'd be interesting to find out what happens then with this new Mandalorian series, because
what's he going to do? Well, no, it's all going to be about the Darksaber, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who has control of the Darksaber? Who controls Mandalore?
Like,
who leads the restoration of Mandalore?
I don't know if I want Grogu to come back in that series.
Oh God, no!
I like that being like a nice ending chapter. I want Grogu to stay around, and I want to follow him. But maybe I don't know. Maybe we see him.
Yeah, but then the theories come. Where's Grogu? What happened to him? Does he get trained up? Look, poor Baby Yoda, Jesus Christ. He survives the Jedi Temple. He could have well been in the bloody Jedi Temple when fucking Kylo Ren destroys it. That fucker's bad luck.
Well, here's the thing as well. I didn't think about it the other day.
I literally just realised that.
Well,
there's credible evidence Grogu could be in 2 Jedi massacres.
Well, oh yeah. That's true.
He was saved from the Jedi Temple by somebody in Order 66, and I mean this is complete speculation, but Luke Skywalker takes him. 15 years later, Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple gets massacred.
And here's the thing: Grogu's still going to effectively be the same age when all that happens. He's still going to look the same because he's like they age so slowly.
Well, they do age slowly, but I think there's about 15 years between. Because I think at the time, now this is all off the top of my head, and you can work on the housekeeping for this next week, so bear with me. I think at the time of The Mandalorian, Ben Solo is about 8 years old.
What, you think that's the 8 years after Return?
Yes, it is 8 years after the Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's an official number, but I'm pretty sure Ben Solo is around 8 years old around The Mandalorian. I think it's about 19 when he burns down the palace, because he starts training at 10 years old, I believe. So there's about 15 years for Grogu to grow up, which takes him up to 65, which isn't that old.
Well, it's only 15 years older than he is, so he's still going to be an infant. There's no doubt about that. He will still be an infant.
But here's another point. Yoda was a Jedi Master by the age of 100. So that's a lot of things Grogu's got to do in 50 years.
Yeah.
So
Well,
in those 15 years, he might have improved quite a lot.
It's interesting.
There's a lot up in the air on this Grogu shit.
They're definitely limited by what the Disney movies. You know, take these movies out of the equation, and
They could be, but they could just like fuck them. Like,
yeah, I think
the only tangible thing that really affects the universe of Star Wars in the new trilogy is the First Order blowing up the capital of the New Republic. Beyond that, they could all be their own little bubble.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big universe, and like we've had Ahsoka was she was alive during the prequel trilogy.
Yep.
She's not in the prequel trilogy.
No, exactly.
The character was not created, but she's been in enough around it that she's completely justified. And it's a big universe, and you can work around it. The time frame between The Force Awakens and The Rise of Skywalker, I don't think is much more than
Return of the Jedi.
No, I mean like the time frame between The Force Awakens, the 7th movie, and the 9th movie.
Okay.
It's like it can't be much more than in 2 years.
Yeah, it's not going to be a long one.
Around that, like I mean, the technology's better, but you could be in hyperspace for that time. Who knows? You know, so it's like
literally, the only thing that affects the outer world is them blowing up those 5 planets, one of which happens to be, I think, because of the H. It's not Halcyon because that's in the outer worlds, but they blew up the capital of the New Republic. That's it. I can't think of anything else that affected the wider universe.
No, I think
this is another thing that I watch a lot of YouTube stuff. Hey, I'm already on it. Hey. That was lame. But like there was that thing about Han Solo not believing in the Force or the Jedi in A New Hope, and then Rey and Finn not believing in it, or at least it being a myth in The Force Awakens. And that was always seen, at least amongst people I knew, that that's a bit stupid because, you know, the Jedi, they're obviously real. But at the time of like the prequels, their numbers were not huge. So on major planets like Coruscant, they were quite well known, but the further you get and the closer you get to the outer rims, the more they'd be thinly spread, and the more likely you are to hear rumors about them without ever actually physically encountering one. Because it's not like they're a dime a dozen. They're a rare species. They're not species, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think like them not being around is believable in the universe. Therefore, all the Sith stuff, all the Jedi stuff, Force Awakens can just almost be forgotten.
And talking of Jedi, Sith, I think like the main point on Mandalorian, like the main point is like that big, giant, huge last episode where they just dropped Luke Skywalker on us in like potentially like the best Star Wars moment post Disney buyout.
I wasn't that fussed.
I can't believe you were that fussed. Like for me, this was like the homecoming. For me, this was it.
I will give you the Skywalker we got in Series 2, Episode 8 is the Skywalker we all fucking wanted in Episode 7. But they fucked that up. But it wasn't that big of a surprise. We knew a Jedi was coming, and there's 3. There's Luke Skywalker. There's Kanan Jarrus is dead. There's Luke Skywalker, who is the Jedi Master. There's Ezra Bridger from Rebels, who we last saw in hyperspace. That's it. There was no other bloody candidate.
But beyond that, though, but it's not just that. Like, because even like that, I mean, that is not a casual knowledge. And I think, to be honest, not even a casual.
It's less than that. If you're a casual, the only one you know is Luke Skywalker.
But like, even if you only think there is one Jedi, like, it's not even just the knowing or not knowing. It's like him coming on screen, that badass just scene from him coming in, taking out.
When did you know it was Luke Skywalker?
I knew it was like I knew it was Luke Skywalker when you saw his hilt of his lightsaber.
Yeah, same here. The black
it.
glove and the lightsaber hilt. That was it. A lot of people were like, "Oh, it's an X-wing. It's Luke." I had no idea. I didn't know what it was.
The thing is, what is like the most popular starfighter of that period of time for like a rebel?
X-wing.
Or a good guy. Like
it's an X-wing.
What the fuck else are they turning up in? Like when people are like, oh, it's an X-wing, it's like,
that looks a TIE fighter.
Yeah, oh yeah. What else are they coming in? Like, you know what I mean? Of course, it could be an X-wing. Of course, if it's anyone who's kind of military or who's coming in.
Yeah, we even see it in a couple of episodes previous. There, two X-wings pull over as if they're on the fucking side of the road. They like pull over Mando in space.
The Rogue Squadron coppers. That's it. Like so, all the coppers have like if anyone's coming in as a good guy in a ship, it's going to be an X-wing, and if it's not an X-wing, then it's most likely going to be an X-wing. So
especially if it's someone you know.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be. So
I was kind of hoping it was going to be. Well, I just love Qui-Gon Jinn, but he's dead. He's actually dead.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if you've seen, and I've not physically seen it, but I've seen reports about it. A form of Disney Star Wars Instagram account teased Windu's not dead.
Oh, mate, I haven't seen that, but we fucking spoke about
Add it to the list. Add it to the list.
And I think we might as well say now, like, I don't think Mace Windu. Yeah, add it to the list of people that look like they were dead but weren't dead, because we basically called it a couple of weeks ago. Like, if you haven't seen them die in Star Wars, they are not dead. And even if you have seen them die, cut in half and fall down a shaft, they are dead. So
cut in half and fall down a shaft, lightning to the death and thrown through a shaft, eaten by a monster that will digest you slowly over 1,000 years, not dead.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pretty good candidates for dying, and they all survived.
So everyone survived. So flung off a building is nothing in the Star Wars universe.
Having 3 limbs cut off and left to burn next to a lava river.
Lava pit, yeah.
Not dead. So admittedly, that one was never thought to be dead, but it should probably kill you.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty full-blown.
Hell, living to 900 years old, that should probably kill you. Yeah. Yoda still did it.
So Luke Skywalker comes back. He kicks all the Dark Troopers' asses. Massive shout-out to Dark Troopers.
They disappointed me.
What, the Dark Troopers?
Yeah.
They were awesome. How? I must know. They were so perfect.
Like, they stood up against Mando.
Yeah.
They were billed as these really, really dangerous, badass bots.
Yeah.
And Luke Skywalker cut them down like they were the battle droids from Geonosis.
I see no problem with that.
Really? Like, they're built up to be so dangerous,
and
they're cut down by a lightsaber. I get that it's a lightsaber.
It's not even just a lightsaber. It's not even just a lightsaber. Here's the levels. It's not just a lightsaber. It's a lightsaber wielded by a Jedi. Not just a Jedi, the Jedi Master. It's not just a Jedi Master. It's the
chosen one, possibly.
It's the fucking chosen one. It's the absolute central main bad boy of Star Wars. I would be infuriated if they even gave him a slight bit of trouble. Like, it would be massively incorrect. A Jedi coming down that hallway is so devastating. And this is what I'm talking about. This is why they get it. Because this is why I was so angry at Finn fighting Kylo. Because, like, the way I've justified this, my headcanon, which I don't think we spoke about on cam, but my headcanon, which helps me digest so much Star Wars, is that if anybody even goes slightly toe-to-toe with a decent Jedi lightsaber user, then they have some affinity with the Force. So the Magistrate fighting Ahsoka, I believe she has some affinity with the Force, because I can't remember the name of it, and I will look it up for next week, but there's a famous, like we've got Kung Fu and Karate in the real world. In Star Wars universe, they have a very famous.
I mean, there are several lightsaber forms of combat. I think there's 7 forms.
But this is for like anyone, not just like Force users. There are like
okay. I don't think I'm aware of that one.
It is a martial art in Star Wars universe, and it is like their equivalent to Kung Fu. Like they don't have tea or coffee. Their drink is called caf, which is short of caffeine, obviously. So they don't have cigarettes. They have death sticks.
Death sticks.
Yeah, so they don't.
They have spice.
Yeah, spice. So they don't have kung fu or karate, but they have whatever that one's called. And you'll see a practitioner of that in Rogue Squadron. You know his name? I can't remember it.
Cassian Andor?
The blind guy.
Oh, Chirrut Imwe.
Yeah, so he is like a user of it, but as he
That's Rogue One, not Rogue Squadron.
Rogue One, sorry, thank you for the instant correction. But he has a very obvious.
I was just worried for a second. I was like, I don't know a single fucker in Rogue Squadron.
Neither do I.
So I'm gonna fail if this is wrong. Anyway,
he has a very obvious Force affinity because
yes,
the whole gimmick is like he's never really been trained in it from what we can tell, but he is obviously very aware of it, and based on his martial arts understanding, that is his interpretation of how to use the Force. And it is very obvious in that moment in Rogue Squadron, a great moment in Rogue Squadron is exactly what I'm talking about. The Force is present, man. Like the way Darth Bane, in the Darth Bane books, they describe lightsaber fighting is that it is the Force being channeled by two people, and that the lightsaber is almost symbolic of just the Force clashing. And that's why it looks the way it does. And that is something I always latched onto and really liked. And I think that is kind of Rogue Squadron as well. Like the Force is willing them to bring the Empire down. Like the Empire is like bad fucking chi, and like so they're just like right, like the balance is trying to be brought to the Force, and that happens to every individual being that is like everyone is connected to the Force in Star Wars.
Everyone has a form of Force attunement.
Yeah, even if it's not the one.
Yeah, I believe that's a thing. It flows through every living creature.
And that's what it's all about. And that's why like the Mando nails that shit, man. A massive favorite moment for me of the whole series, besides Luke, besides that whole last episode, was we'd seen him take his mask off earlier on when he was injured, and IG-11.
Yes, he held the back of his head.
He said he's not living, and I don't know if there's some really interesting conversations to be had around that. Like, if I ask you the question, was IG-11 alive? Was he alive?
Oh God, no.
So you say, oh God, no, right?
No.
But then I asked the question, and this is where it gets really philosophical. It's not just about Star Wars, but like, what even is life? Because you could say, oh, what is it organic? Does it have to be organic? Because really, there's a much longer conversation than we've probably got time for. But those episodes around IG-11, because IG-11 says to him, like, don't be sad for me, I was never alive, right? But the fact that even the Mando is sad for him, for me, is like, fucking Wizard of Oz even talks about this on a very.
It's the beginning of the development of him willing to take it off. I think that was like a baby step. He thought his rationale was this thing isn't alive, and he's never taken it off in front of anything that, let's say, for instance, sentience.
Yeah,
he's never taken it off in front of anything that had sentience.
I've got like a whole philosophy on it anyway, but like within a story, they're all pre-written. It's such a big combo, like, and it's probably not right for this one here. But in short, what I'm trying to say is that I think IG-11 is alive. I think IG-11 is fucking sentient, and I think even just the fact that the Mando is sad about him dying gives that life credibility, because he's like affected others, and they can now move on. He is part of the bigger story. He is part of. If it wasn't for IG-11 doing what he did at the time he did, that might not have helped them get where they did when they.
Yeah,
did.
Exactly. That's what I was saying at the start of the character development. I believe that's like the introduction to being able to take his mask off. Really, let's set the ball rolling. Because what were the other two? There was the one with the face recognition, which is
that's
like,
the moment.
I kind of like your headcanon, but it on the basis, stupid as fuck.
Well, you can say it's stupid as fuck, but that I didn't even think about that based on he's in this moment, right? His whole code in life is to never take his mask off in front of others.
In front of anyone living.
But Bill Burr's character he gives this really good little speech before they even go in there about, what are you even standing for anymore? He's like, can you not take your mask off, or can you not show your face? Because you're there wearing a stormtrooper helmet, and they are two different things, And
yeah,
it's a really good question, and it's one of my. I love this because
I honestly
the Mando
think
sat there, and he's not. You can't see his face, but you can tell what he is thinking, man. Like he is.
That's what I say. He's questioning
thinking,
it himself, I think.
Yeah. He's sat there thinking, "Fuck, man! Like, have I just already blown my code out the window? Like, am I even the same person I am?"
In the Mandalorian culture, their armor is like their second skin.
Yeah.
Especially for the Mandalorians that Mando grew up with.
And the beautiful thing, right, when he goes up to that, when Bilbo goes into that, I can't do it. I know the character's not called Bilbo, but
Mayfield.
Mayfield. I can't do it. Like, there's a guy in there, blah, blah, blah. So the Mandalorians, like, he's like, no, we have to. Like, we have to. We've come too far. Like, Grogu's life depends on it. Like, we have to do this. So just fuck it, just give it to me. And he goes in there, and it's not like this Hollywood tropey, cheesy, corny moment where he slowly decides to take his mask off and the music picks up and he takes it off and it's like, oh, it's not, it's so realistic and believable is probably a better word for anything in this. He just like, fuck it, and he takes it off and the moment's done and he is exposed to the world. Like, he might as well be naked. Like, he's in that room and he's completely exposed. And it's nobody's, you're still looking at him and you see it from Bill Burr's character Mayfield's perspective and he can't see his face. So you're kind of like, he's taking his mask off, but he hasn't really shown his face. And then the guy's like, hey, trooper. He looks at him, and the look on his face, right, is some good acting, man. Because that is the look of, like, I am, like...
What's the guy's name?
Oh, my God. Well, the actor...
Yeah.
Oh, mate, I can't remember. Is it like Pablo? No, not Pablo. Didn't he play a Pablo?
Oh, no, the character's name is Din Djarin, but, yeah.
He's in Narcos, and wasn't that Pablo Escobar? I haven't watched Narcos.
Yeah.
I really do feel like we've skimmed the surface of this, and I think what might even
there's definitely more.
I think what might even be a really good shout moving forward is
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, well done. There you go. I knew it was like beginning with a P.
Yeah,
great actor.
Double P.
Just phenomenal actor, and he's totally.
God, my beard looks so ginger. Jesus Christ.
Pretty ginger P. So
anyway,
all right, stop all this because you can't hear me announce the bets. So the bets are from last week. The bet was. What would the Cyberpunk file size be? And by this time next episode. And at the time, it's 59.49 gigabytes. So no change. And I bet 100 gigabytes. Now, prior to the podcast, I've already checked this, so we're not going to have any scrappiness. I've already got the answer. I looked around, but I had to double check my wording because I typed it exactly as I typed it in last week. And I said, if it comes up the same article with the same result, then that is the answer. That is how it goes. And that was what happened. So I got the exact same article, same result. So from what we can tell...
You're an idiot, is what we're saying.
But here's the thing. You win the bet. I'm not disputing that. You win. But
I'm disputing the bet.
A day after, I almost sent you a screenshot of news that they had done the emergency patch for Cyberpunk, thus increasing the file size. And I was going to send you the day after. I think it was like 9 or 10 gigabytes. Not a great deal. But
I'd win though.
Would win. If it was only 9 or 10, you would win. But
yeah, it would be.
That was one of the reasons why. Well, I didn't say anything. I didn't want to jinx it. But the funny thing is, I do think the actual file size may have increased since we last spoke. But
so what we're saying is, you were so specific on your wording that you bit yourself in the foot.
Yeah, I bit myself in the foot. But well, I mean, it's about time you won because I even put here Chris wins at last. So, so you finally get a win. August, let's finish the podcast. We're gonna go to your room, and I will finish the podcast. Then we'll play some Lego. So that's it, really. That's the bet. You win. So you get the honor of picking up a video or shouting out or final word or the above.
If you like Star Wars, watch The Mandalorian. It's the best thing that it's probably the best thing produced in a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also tune in next week because there's some cool sabers coming out.
Next week we're going to show in sabers. We're finally going to talk about lightsabers. We're just going to dedicate the first part of the episode next week to lightsabers and any particular housekeeping. This time next week. Now, if there's nobody streaming it, that class is 0. There will be probably. But what will the top? So we've done this before. So we check the Twitch. We check the streams. The top stream on Twitch. Because we don't know we're pretty certain that that's the highest streamer. But what was the top stroke first streamer on Battlefront 2. So I'm going to type Battlefront 2 in on Twitch. And the first person streaming it that comes up, what will the number of people watching be?
Sure.
Huh?
Yeah,
oh,
sure.
yeah. Have you written it down yet?
No, I wasn't paying attention. What? How many people will be watching the number one streamer?
The number one Battlefront 2 stream next week on Twitch when we record again. What will the number be of people watching? I need to write mine one down.
We're up on to a grand total of 104 now, so we gotta finish this quickly. I've got.
Okay. No, don't show me. I haven't looked yet. I haven't typed my one.
Yeah. Mate, you need a pen
Oh.
and paper. It's so much simpler.
No, it's not. It's much quicker and simpler. But I'll tell you mine.
There's the guy screaming, "I've not done it yet! Don't show me!" I'm sat here holding it.
I've typed in 100.
400. That's a bit of a difference, yeah.
Okay, so that's good. So this has been Default Tangent. Thanks for watching. Bear with us with the interruptions and podcast bombing from Augusto.
But you won't notice this.
You may not notice it. It's gonna be difficult to like edit around everything. So I'm sure.
Oh no, you won't be able to edit around this.
No, exactly. So without further ado, thank you ever so much for watching. Please comment, like or dislike if you like or you dislike. But
also, if you have any bet ideas for next week, do let us know because this is getting tedious.
Yes, better ideas for bets. But upon that note, see you later. Wave goodbye. Wave goodbye. Wave goodbye.